What's up, guys? Welcome back to part 5, I believe, of the 400EX rebuild series. You can see the parts pile is finally dwindling down, but the plan for today's video is focusing on the rear brakes themselves. Now, this is something I have never done before, so this is a learning experience for me. I'm gonna get my manual out here and kind of look everything over, but when I was ordering parts for this thing, I got a rebuild kit for the master cylinder and a rebuild kit for the caliper itself. And just from kind of my general knowledge of mechanical things, I think I can I can figure it out. So bear with me here. We'll get everything taken apart and we'll get this rear brake setup rebuilt. All right, for starters here, I'm gonna go ahead and pop the main brake line off itself. I have a replacement for that, but I kind of just want to have everything separated just to the master cylinder side and the caliper side. And I figured just the best way to do that is to pop the brake line off. I'm going to pop the brake pedal off. We're going to pull the reservoir off and just kind of clean everything up. And then we'll go ahead and start disassembling and see what's inside of this. And we'll get the rebuild kit out and hopefully get it all put back together. I tried taking it off just holding it in my hand, but it was way too dang tight. So I threw it in the vise here and put a rag around it so the cross hatching on the vise itself didn't scratch it up, but that makes it a heck of a lot easier to crack this open. And I'm hoping a whole lot of brake fluid doesn't go flying everywhere. Next, I got the caliper mounted in there off the mounting bracket. So hopefully that makes it. Oh shit. Alright. But as you can see here, both banjo bolts have a crush washer on the top half of the brake line and then on the bottom half. But that takes care of the brake line part, so now both pieces are separated. I guess I didn't get all the brake fluid out of it. So you got a new ring in there. I don't think I ordered one of these, but luckily it's still in good shape. There's that piece out of the way. Just kind of get everything together here. And then get these hose clamps off. Might have to work on that. There's that. Damn it, tight. That's what she said. Alright, there's everything taken apart. If you can see that or not, there's a pretty good bit of sludge inside of that piece, but we'll go ahead and get everything cleaned up here. Not quite sure if I want to take it apart first and clean it up, but I guess that'd probably be the better route. So maybe we'll go ahead and get everything taken apart here, and then we'll throw it in my parts washer bucket and get it all cleaned up and hopefully looking shiny again. I got the master cylinder clamped down in the vise here to get this the brake pedal bracket off, and it's got this jam nut down here, and to try and spin everything all by hand or freehand, it didn't exactly work. So the jam nut under here is a 12mm, I believe, and I got this screwdriver in here to keep this part from spinning itself, because this all spins as one assembly. But there, I got that cracked loose. And now with that cracked loose, I can loosen that up, and then this piece here comes off, and then this nut here comes off. After getting the bolt and the clamp off, or the nut and the clamp off there, I had to take a pause and break out the manual because I wasn't quite sure what to do. But from my little bit of reading I did, there you gotta take this boot off for starters, and there's a groove on I believe they call this the push rod itself. Yeah, they call this the push rod, but there's a groove in there that the top part, or I guess it'd be the bottom part of the boot that locks in. So you kind of gotta pull it out of the groove itself to get it started. And then the part that was confusing me was the bottom part of the boot is, I mean, it is tight. I mean, yours might not be, depending on how bad you've, or how much you've worked on it, or how bad the conditions are you ride in. But I could not get this boot to break loose. So what I did was kind of hold on to it and just start twisting this until it finally broke loose, all as one piece. And then you should be able to pop that off. And then, I don't know if you can see it or not, there is a snap ring down inside there. You might be able to see it there. But that is the first piece you got to try and get out of there in order to access the rest of the brake hardware. And I can see now. Okay, I can pry this out of the way to get access to it. Sorry, I'm going to try and get a decent angle of this. I guess it'd help if I turn my pliers around. Once that there comes out, the internals of the push rod should come out. And as you can see, sorry, camera went dark. This thing here is pretty cruddy, so it's gonna get cleaned up like everything else I put back together. And then I guess I gotta pause the video again because now I'm not sure where to go from here. Okay, there is that piece. I think it's actually metal, but it's got a rubber washer here. I got a little bit of brake fluid left to dump out. Get that wiped out. And then there should just be a spring left in there, I think. there she be. As far as this assembly goes, tap the camera again, you can see that this thing is now hollow inside. So that's it. This is the master cylinder itself, the rear one. There's the spring, and I believe this rides on here like this. And then this slides up in here like this. So if you kind of want to get a visual of that, that's what the inside of your master cylinder looks like. But now that everything's apart, we'll go ahead and get everything cleaned up, whatever the heck I just said. And then once it's cleaned up, we'll replace all the parts here from my All Balls master cylinder rebuild kit. And then we'll move on to the rear caliper. Alright, so the other videos I did rebuilding things and cleaning, I never really explained to it, but all this is a bucket of hot water, Dawn dish soap, and I spray a little bit of purple powder in there for some extra degreaser. And then I kind of take I guess it'd be like a medium strength wire brush. I'm not really sure what, I think it was like brass or something. I have no idea what the heck that is, but I take that so it's not so aggressive, but it has a little bit enough to kind of clean the rough parts out. And then the main thing that I use is I dip the steel wool down in there and really take it over all this, and it usually takes a lot of the corrosion off. But that being said, we'll go ahead and get this thing cleaned up. Alright guys, I went ahead and did some work off camera as far as cleaning and everything goes, just because it's kind of repetitive. But I showed you the master cylinder. It cleaned up pretty decent. All I did was just use some wire wool and a medium wire brush. I got the pedal bracket and the nut all cleaned up as good as I could. It didn't clean up too bad. Here's the internals. I didn't take them apart yet. But my only concern was, if you can see it, this part here has some pretty decent pitting. There was a lot of corrosion and gunk and everything on it, and then same with this thing here. There's still some corrosion and pitting and everything goes. And the owner's manual says to replace these pieces, but I don't. The brakes worked pretty good when I took them apart, so I'm not too concerned about that. But you can see these part here rides together, so I don't think the pitting will hurt too much. But they cleaned up pretty decent. I think these parts here get replaced, so I didn't bother with that. I cleaned this piece here up. It had a bunch of gunk and slime down inside where the brake line rides, as far as everything else did too. I got the reservoir cleaned up. And the same with it. The whole bottom of this thing was just caked in gunk. But I took the lid apart. There's all three pieces to the lid. Cleaned them up. The hose itself that goes from the reservoir to the brake cylinder, or the master cylinder, I got it all cleaned up as good as I could, and all the mud out of the fabric part, I guess you could call it. I really don't know what it is. And then the brake pedal, I didn't really clean it up, but the collar here that rides in the four-wheeler frame itself that pivots, this thing here was extremely rusty, and I had a heck of a time getting it out of the four-wheeler even. So all I did was take my heavy wire brush and kind of go over all the loose stuff. And then I took a piece of 320 grit and just kind of chased it around the collar itself. So it's actually fairly smooth now, and it slides right in the four-wheeler. So that's all taken care of. The rubber hose here that slides over this piece, I got it all cleaned up. It just had some mud and everything on it, caked on it from riding. And I believe that's everything as far as we're using that is cleaned up. I gotta pop some O-rings off. I'm not quite sure how this is going to come off, but I think that's about it for this evening. It's getting late, so I still got to shower and make dinner, and it's a Thursday evening, so I think we'll finish this video up here today. Alright guys, it is now Friday afternoon, and I am going to attempt to finish up the rear brakes this evening. But one thing I forgot to mention before I ended the video last night, talking about the cleaning and everything, if you use the same method I do and use the the soapy bucket of water and cleaning and stuff, and you plan on putting these back together the same night, make sure you take some brake clean and an air compressor and kind of blow everything out as far as like water and anything goes, because you don't want to put this all, clean it all up, put it all back together, and then have a bunch of water laying inside mixing with your brake fluid. But I just wanted to mention that real quick. But before we start the video and get into any work, I want to go ahead and go through this all balls kit. I'll go ahead and let you see the number there. And this fits, as you can see, several different models of four-wheeler. But let's see here. Always comes with a sticker. That's the only reason I ordered anything, is just for the sticker, actually. But here is the ring that goes on this piston here, whatever the heck you want to call it. The only thing I'm not too sure about is they sent 3 different C-clips. Gosh dang, I'm grabbing everything out of here. And the only one I believe that I used is this bigger one. So I don't know if this kit's universal, but they got to send different C-clips to hold the whole like master cylinder assembly in. So I don't know if these two are just a throw in case you have a different four-wheeler. So we'll lay them off to the side, but there's the one you need. The 7003 for a 400EX. And I was upset in order the O-ring that goes in this part here, but it ended up coming with it, so that's good. There's 2 crush washers for the banjo bolt from the brake line. I don't believe I need them either. There is the new spring and cap that goes on the end of it. Dang, camera keeps going blurry, I can't see. And then you have your new rubber seal that goes on. I'm trying to think which way it goes here. It goes on like this. But with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of the parts that I don't need. I gotta try and figure out how to pull this O-ring off this thing. Not quite sure how to do that. And also a side note, I looked this whole I think this whole mechanism you can order off Motorsport OEM from Honda, but it is like, I don't know, like $60-some, and it was on, I guess it was, you call it back order. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and run it. I'm not too crazy about all the pitting in this piece here, but I think it'll be all right. And if it does fail, I know how to take it apart now and fix it, so no big deal. But all right, we'll go ahead and get started tearing this thing apart and finish getting it back together. And we're back. I ended up doing a little bit of reading and seeing that they want you to soak they call them primary cup A and B. A is your cap that goes on the spring, and primary cup B is sorry, I guess I could move it closer to the camera so you can see it, but primary cup A is the flat cap that goes on the end of your spring, and then B is what goes around this here. Shit. Whoops. But that's alright, what a big deal. But I'm gonna go ahead and attempt to go ahead and start getting this ring off this thing here. If you kind of pinch it, you can get a pick in and get it started, I believe. I really don't like how tight this is to get off, but okay, I guess that takes care of that. And they want you to, the manual tells you to soak them just to, because it loosens up the rubber. And then they actually want you to put .4 brake fluid on the end of this cap here. But after I just tossed it in there, I guess I can probably just go ahead and attempt to get this thing on here. Okay. And then you can take your spring, dig out your other cup here, and pop it on the end of this, maybe. Kind of expected that to get stuck on there. It's got a little nipple down inside the cap that I figured would kind of lock into the spring here, but maybe not. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way. Actually, I might take a little bit and dip it on my finger and kind of smear around down in there. Just to kind of, make sure I can see what I'm recording. Just to kind of lubricate everything as you slide it back down in, because rubber on metal doesn't exactly slide the best, but okay. There's that. Use that and slide it down in there. And then this goes down in like this. I'm assuming this needs threaded back down in there. Okay. I guess it doesn't thread. And then this goes down in there. The O-ring. Okay, after fighting with that, I got the snap ring to go down in the groove even. It's kind of difficult. You kind of use one hand to keep all the pressure off the spring, or keep pressure on the spring to keep everything pushed down, and then use your other hand and kind of finagle it, and then just take a pick and push it the rest of the way down if it don't go down uneven for you. But as you can see now, we have a working master cylinder. Brake fluid and all that. I had to pause the video for a second because I wasn't sure what the heck was going on, but I got the boot down on, and you really have to inspect to make sure it's in that groove on your push rod here. And then I just took just a blunt pick here, not something sharp, and just kind of made sure that that boot was sealed down inside there. But with that that done, I'll go ahead and I think what's next here. I'll go ahead and put the new O-ring in and around where the reservoir, I don't know what the heck you call it is, the reservoir elbow goes. I'll put a little bit of brake fluid on that. Slide it down in there. Great. Okay, change that. We'll try it this way. Something ain't cooperating here. Again. Okay. Get a little screw here started. Oh, I gotta plug in my other light. I just realized it's unplugged. Okay, snug that up. And then I think I'll leave that alone for now. We will go ahead and start putting the foot pedal clip on. wind the jam nut up on far. Slide this here on. And then I was kind of nervous about putting this on and not getting it back in the same position it was, but according to the manual, this lower bolt hole here, from the center of it, there it is, from the center of this bolt hole to the center of this hole should be about 3.1 inches. Let me grab my tape measure. And 3.1, this is a junky tape measure, 3.1 is in between about 1/8 and, or 1/16 and 1/8. And it's actually pretty dang close. I think it favors the 1/8 side. But I know a tape measure isn't exactly the best way to go about this. I need a dang micrometer, whatever they're called. But I would say that's pretty dang close where it's at. I'll go ahead and put this in the vise here and tighten this jam nut down, and we will come back and put the rest of the reservoir assembly on. Now that we got what the book calls the clevis, we can go ahead and start working on the reservoir part. And since I took the rubber hose and everything off the sleeve here, I'll go ahead and get that slid back together. It should go about like that. And then do not forget to put your hose clamps on before you slide everything back together. Hope it goes back there far enough. There's one hose clamp. There's the other one. And I believe go ahead and slide this together here. I'm going to put just a shot of brake fluid on the little nozzle here so it slides in the rubber hose a little better. That goes on like that. And it is this facing down like that, so that should be good. And I took the cap apart as well, so then your clear plastic piece goes up in the top of the lid like this, and then this should go down in there the rest of the way. Okay, after working with that for a little bit, we can now slide this down on there. And there she be. That is exactly how it came off the four-wheeler. And the only thing left to do now is put on the brake pedal. And I believe it goes on just like this. The clevis, the hook port of the clevis should go in the back. Go ahead and pull that out. Slide this in there. And that should be it. I'll just bend them tabs around. I'm going to double check my pictures to make sure I got it correct, but that should be how that goes. I think that about completes the master cylinder rebuild, which is actually fairly simple for doing it my first time. Thank goodness for the manual. But that being said, we'll set this off to the side, and next we will start tearing apart the caliper, which I'm not too sure what all this entails either, but we'll go ahead and get started on that. Alright, we'll go ahead and get started on the caliper part. But I'll go ahead and start by taking off the rear parking brake block off plate. Sorry, I know you guys can't see this. They were a little tighter than I thought they'd be. My 400EX came with a rear parking brake, but it never worked, and I couldn't figure out why. So I just took it off and got rid of it. And then I believe these are the caliper bolts, and they come with these little tabs folded up. But I already went ahead and bolted, or just used a, I can't think what the hell these things are called. I used a punch and went ahead and pushed them down, just so you guys didn't have to endure that with the camera being on the same table I'm pounding on. So with them out of the way, we'll go ahead and pull these caliper bolts, or brake pad bolts out, whatever they're called. Pretty dry. With them out, you can see they're pretty cruddy, so I'll clean them up and put a little bit of grease or anise or something on them when it comes down to putting them back together. But there's the plate, and then we can go ahead and pull the pads out. And these pads have plenty of life in them, as you can see, but I figured while I'm taking it apart, I went ahead and got some new EBC brakes to throw on it, so we'll go ahead and we'll just get rid of them. Lord knows how old they are. But with those two steps out of the way, I now got to get back to the manual and see what's next, because I'm not quite sure what to do next. Oh, that just fell off. I don't know if that's supposed to or not. Alright, I'll be right back again. Well, I had to get back through a little bit more of the manual, but I see that I missed a clip down inside here. I don't know if you can see it or not. There's like a spring clip almost that I forgot to take out, so we'll go ahead and pop that out. Boy, this thing needs a good cleaning. And then pop this out here. That comes out of the way. I was a little confused looking at this thing, how to get this off, because of this nut right here. And then this boot, I thought you could pull the end of it off to expose some of the end of here, and I could not find nothing. I couldn't find nothing in the manual, and I realized that's that just slides in that rubber boot in there. So don't get confused like I did and try and take a wrench to this nut on here. But everything should be out of the way now. We can thought I could pop this bolt out. But we can set that out of the way. That'll be getting cleaned. I really thought this here would come out. Try and pry a little bit. Okay, once again, I don't know what's going on. I did a little bit of work off camera. I ended up getting this thing out finally. I could not figure out why it was tight. I mean, it was extremely tight trying to get out of there. I mean, I just used my bare hands, but, well, kind of. I ended up just sticking the ratchet in it and kind of ratcheting and pulling out at the same time. But I didn't realize these dang boots were what was making it so tight. I ended up shredding this one, but luckily my rebuild kit comes with new ones of these. But yeah, this thing here slides in. To be honest with you, trying to put it back together looks like it's going to be a huge pain in the ass, because you got to try and get all them. You got to try and get them seals to seal in here, but also slide this pin in at the same time and get it to seal in the grooves on this. So I guess we'll cross that bridge when the time comes. But that being said, this is out of the way now. I can go ahead and pull these boots off. Dust seals, whatever you want to call them. You can see that one there got all ripped up trying to get it out of there. And then we can pull the slider boot out. And like I said, I got replacements, so I really don't care if they rip. But that one came out alright. And then I had to go ahead and put the parking brake block off plate back on, because I cranked I don't know why my brain is not working, but I took this C-clamp, yes, and pushed it back in the rest of the way on the caliper. And now to get this out, I'm gonna have to use a little bit of compressed air. I'm gonna be honest, I went ahead and tested it out before I even started recording just to see if this was gonna work, but oh shoot, I'm forgetting something. I'll just use this rag. In order to prevent any damage to the... I can't think of what the heck anything's called, but the piston. In order to keep any damage from the piston happening, I like to tuck a rag in there. And because they say these things, when they come out like a rocket. But just take your air compressor, stick it in where the brake line goes, and just apply some pressure. You can see there that came out fairly easy, actually. But I hope I didn't just screw up. I don't know. I swear, I look like a damn idiot trying to record this for you guys, because I'm going to be honest, I'm doing all this for my first time and kind of messing with things before I even start recording, so I don't look like a damn idiot. But now I just got that damn rag stuck in there. So once again, I'll be right back. I got the damn rag out. But according to the manual, once you get this pinned down flush with this, or down past it, you can take a punch and just tap it the rest of the way out. And there she be. Holy shit. Might not have an evening. But there's your piston. I'm gonna have to clean that up a little bit. It's a little cruddy on the outside, and I'm honestly not sure about this. This really bothers me. I feel like that should not be falling off there. But the rear brakes have been working semi-decent, so maybe I'll just half-ass put it back together and run it for the season, and then I'll get a replacement. But there is the caliper, pretty much tore apart, minus some O-rings down in there. So we'll go ahead and pry them out. There's a bigger O-ring. There's a smaller one. I mean, I can't believe how dirty this thing is, but who knows if this thing's ever been worked on. I doubt it. And there's also a smaller O-ring down in here. Sorry. The O-ring's down on this side. There you go. There's a little smaller O-ring that was in the groove here where the piston goes. The pin. I hope I didn't scratch that up too bad inside there, because I really thought I could see it down in there, but I'm not sure what I was looking at. Alright, with that being all cleaned up, I will, I guess I can pop this bleeder valve off. I'll go ahead and pop it out. So I think that comes with the new rubber boot that goes on top of it, and then I'll go ahead and start cleaning it, and we'll be right back. Finally, we are back, and if you guys knew the amount of elbow grease it took to clean this caliper up as good as it is, I mean, even still, it's not the cleanest, but there was just black crud caked in everywhere, and even with the wire brush and steel wool, I scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed till I finally got most of it off. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Even the mounting bracket itself, this thing was pitch black. So for it to turn out as clean as it is, I'm pretty happy with it. There's the piston. I took just steel wool over it real lightly, just to get all it was like some kind of, I don't know what it was, caked all over the outer ring of it, but I got it off. There's the clip cleaned off. I cleaned up the plate here. It's all cleaned up. The bleeder valve was all cleaned up. And finally, this thing here I cleaned up about as good as I could. So, that being said, I will go ahead and go through the All Balls rebuild kit, just so you guys have an idea. As always, there's the number. You can see it fits a bunch of different four-wheeler models as well. But I'll go through. There's a sticker as always. It comes with the replacement bolts. Blue thread locker already applied. That's pretty nice. There's the two boots that go to this pin here. Glad that came with them because I destroyed the other one. Get that out of the way. There's the other rubber seal. There's a cap for the bleeder valve. Actually, I'm not sure what this part is. I must go to a different four-wheeler. And then you've got all three of your caliper O-rings. And you got your crush washers, which I don't believe because the braided brake lines already come with them. So we'll lay them off to the side with this piece here. But I'll go ahead and get everything set up here, and we'll go ahead and start reinstalling this caliper and getting it finished up so I can finish up this whole rear brake setup. Before we go ahead and get started, I'm going to go ahead and, I don't know, I just found something in AutoZone, just a little bit of sealant, or adhesive sealant, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if this is even a good idea, if this is supposed to come apart. I don't know. I couldn't find anything in the manual about it. But I'm just going to put just the slightest little bit on there. I don't know. If it falls off, it falls off. But if anything, I'll have to get a new piston eventually. But I don't believe this thing here is supposed to come off. But I'm just going to put it in there and smear it around. I figured if anything, it'll help hold it on there at least. Okay, there's that. And for starters, you can go ahead and put the O-rings in. And it says to put a little bit of brake fluid on these before you slide them in. So I'll just dip my finger in the bottle. Put a coating on these. Kind of slide it in. Put a little bit in there. Then your bigger O-ring goes in the first groove. I believe got that O-ring the whole way down in there. Yep, there's one. Get the other one in here. Alright, there's that one. Everything's in there smooth. Now, we have this little O-ring, which I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get that little thing down in there. I don't know if I can push it in from this side, it'd be better or not. Okay, now that that's in, you kind of got to keep one finger pressed up in the hole and then try and push it down in the other one to keep it from pushing the whole way down through, and then just kind of use your pick and just kind of work it in the groove in there. But everything's in there now. We'll go ahead and put a little brake fluid on the piston itself here. Go ahead and slide it back down in, maybe. With that being installed, we'll go ahead and put the little brake pad clip down in there. Kind of center it up. Push it down the whole way in. I think that's pretty decent. Oh, I'm trying to remember what all I did here. We can go ahead and put the bleeder valve in. Put the new cap on it. I just took a little bit of brake parts lubricant and smeared around the outside of this, just so it's not bone dry trying to go in there. Then make sure I put it in the right way. So this way, sitting this way. This should go in here like this. Okay, there's that. And then these two boots here. So that's all put together. We got one of our pins here. This is what you want your brake parts lubricant for. I apologize, guys. I wish I could say I had a recording of that, but that was by far bad enough to make me quit. I mean, I was madder than a three-legged dog trying to bury a turd on an icy lake, trying to get those stupid boots in. I mean, you can get the boots in, but trying to get the cylinder through them stupid boots because the one end's smaller than the other one. So I mean, you're trying to shove this rod through this gasket while trying to work this smaller ring up on the fatter part of it. And then as you're sliding it through, then this ring is locking on another part of the bolt. And then you get it pushed through far enough, and then it starts pushing this boot back out of the caliper. So then you got to push it back through and trying to work the boot back in the ring there and kind of keep pressure on it. I mean, I don't want to sound ridiculous, but it was honestly about to piss me off. All I can say is just keep your picks in there and just kind of keep shoving stuff back and forth and working the the dust seals around the bolt as you're shoving it through there. I mean, it was honestly pissing me off. It took me a good while, but I got it in there and it's greased and it's fucking done. Excuse my language. But that being said, we'll go ahead and apply a little bit of grease to this. Make sure you guys can see what I can see. A little bit of grease to this pin here. By a little bit, I mean that was probably way too much, but whatever. Who cares at this point? I'm tired of rebuilding brakes. Stupid. And you kind of gotta finagle this thing. And the hole a little crooked while pushing the indicator out of the way. There's that piece. In. Now all we can do is hope that the stupid ass boots don't twist out of there. But I just went ahead and got a set of these EBC X Series carbon pads. So I have them on my motorcycle too, and I think they work pretty well. So I went ahead and got a set for the 400 too. Get that out of the way. And pop one in there. And then pop the other one in there. Might have to finagle them a little bit trying to get them in, but then I'm going to take a little bit of the grease. Just put a little bit on the pins. Oh shoot guys, I screwed up. This stupid spring wash, whatever it's called, is supposed to go in between the plate and this dang bolt, so I'll take that out and fix it. We can do that after. Right, we'll go ahead and slide these in. Oh, holy shit, guys, I forgot the damn plate. Alright guys, we'll go ahead and snug these bolts up here. finally, after an entire evening of fighting with this damn thing and cleaning and messing stuff up, I got the the pad bolts in. They get torqued down to 13 foot-pounds. The slide pin, they get torqued down to 17 foot-pounds. I got the parking brake plate put back on. I got the mounting bolts, I just slid them in there for now. Everything's greased up and moving around. That being said, the caliper is done. The master cylinder is done. Finally. And now we can throw on our brake line kit. You can see here, this one was made specifically for the 400EX, but it comes with a rear brake line, it comes with your banjo bolts, and your crush washers. So, and I'm not going to torque everything down. These banjo bolts, if you're keeping track, they get torqued down to 25 foot-pounds. But I'm not gonna do that right now till I get it actually mounted on the four-wheeler and everything where I want it to be. Then I'll torque them down. But I believe one of these has a slight bend in it, if you can see that. I believe that goes on the caliper itself. I don't know if it matters which way these crush washers go. I'll put one down there. And then I don't know if these have a rounded side or a flat side or what. But I'll put that on there. Slide that through there. Oops, I got it backwards. I can go ahead and get that started. I'll just hand snug them up for now, so I can go back and tighten them down. And then this. Oh, okay. If you see here, I didn't notice it at first. There's a tag, but it actually says the master cylinder end. So I'm trying to picture this in my head how it's going to be orientated. The way this thing is bent, they've got it bent backwards, but this brake line should go in between the reservoir hose and this little bracket here on the master cylinder. But I'll go ahead and get that installed, and then we'll finish up this video finally. Alright, there it is. Alright guys, I know I've been apologizing towards the end of every video as far as the quality goes, but this one was a struggle for me. For one, I didn't know what I was doing, so I was kind of blindsided by all this, trying to figure it out and record something so I didn't look stupid recording it to you guys. But like I said, as long as somebody watches this and gets something from it and learns from it, and they try and do it themselves and it works, and that's all that really matters to me, and it makes me happy. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.